Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the FirstCall Facility Focus Forum. I'm your host, Rob Vaughan, joined by a couple of outstanding guests and industry peers today. With Keystone Technologies, I have Bob Shostek, Director of Sales with the ESCO Division, and also Todd Tiberi, Director of Sales with National Accounts. Fellas, we've worked together for a long time. It's great to have you today. How are you?
Great to be here.
Rob,
It's
anytime we get to see you, my friend, we are beaming. So thank you.
I sincerely appreciate that. We've had a lot of great topics on the podcast so far across multiple facilities forums, but we haven't had a chance to talk much about LED lighting retrofits yet. So very excited to talk to the two of you today. Keystone is a real industry leader in LED technology. And guys, just starting off here in a lighting industry with LED that has more brands and competition than ever, for those of both familiar and unfamiliar, please talk a little bit about Keystone Technologies and what has allowed your brand to thrive with such longevity.
Yeah, well, Rob, I think what is making us able to thrive is a couple different things, right? So we started in 1945 making magnetic ballasts and still family owned and operated today. But our core competency is around the power source of a fixture. And I think once you, and what we did was build a LED fixture line around it. And when you see maybe a failure with a fixture, it's usually, or a weak point in a LED fixture, it's really around that power source. So I love the fact that all of our power sources or drivers within our LED line is ours. So it leads to a really a great failure rate, very good in terms of not failing. Right, Bob? Do you know the statistic there? I think it's less than 0.1%.
Yeah, so our failure rate is 0.1%. And Todd's exactly right. The heart and soul of the fluorescent or the HID fixture was the ballast, right? And today's heart and soul of the LED fixture is the driver, and that's the main primary failure point. And so again, to Mr. Tiberi's point, when we are the folks making the driver, we're designing those units around it, and it greatly helps us to reduce the overall number of failures and increase the overall quality.
Well, that product quality is obviously super key. And, the longevity of your business. I mean, to be around for decades in an industry where I always smile when I see a company that's been around for 5 years and they say, oh, we offer a 7-year warranty. And I said, oh, but you're only 5 years old. So you guys can really back that up with strong warranties and technology, and obviously a tremendous team and a family atmosphere at your company. Looking a little further, guys, LED lighting has changed, improved. It's become more efficient and experienced so many different positive transitions in recent years. In your eyes, what are some of the most dynamic changes that you've seen in recent years with technology and the development of LED lighting as a whole?
Well,
it's got to be. Go ahead, Todd. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, sure. I think selectability has really been a huge innovation that came forward within the last 5 to 10 years, where you're having the ability to select multiple wattages, multiple colors. We're able to swap out optics. We're able to put multiple mounts within the box. We're able to change the shape of the fixture. So all that selectability and customization within one product SKU really, I think has grown since the start of LEDs.
I think you hit on something really key there, Todd, because in yesteryear, not only was LED technology more expensive and so many different styles, but now instead of ordering, 15 different SKUs or 15 different products, you can order one product that would have 3 or 4 different color temperatures, three different wattage levels to adjust the brightness to what people want to see. I mean, that's a big deal. Bob, is there something you wanted to add with technological advancement? This isn't your first year in the industry. I think you were around during the Abraham Lincoln administration, if I'm correct. But what advances have you seen?
Well, first of all, Rob, let's get this straight. Back in 1945, I was not alive, but maybe Gene Lindemann was.
Yeah,
We'll have
probably
to
good
ask him
chance. Yep.
about that. You know what I have seen is two things. One is controls and the ease of being able to use controls with LED, right? Fluorescent technology, even incandescent technology, took a beating when you applied controls to that. The LED is a much more robust piece of equipment when it comes to the ability to turn it on, turn it off, dim it, and that is probably the biggest thing that I have seen, and probably what is coming down the road for the next phase of LED. The second is efficiency, right? So if we look back to when LED started, it was somewhere in the area of 10 to 15 lumens per watt or miles per gallon on the white LED. All right. That goes back to early 2000s. We're now with one of our local tubes at 200 lumens per watt, right? So we just keep getting more efficient and the product just keeps getting built a little bit better, a little bit higher light output. So the efficiency to me says, what's coming next? More efficient product, right? So,
well, that's so key, Bob. And I remember you bring up an excellent point because, we have a lot of listeners who are facility managers and trying to make decisions for their businesses on LED upgrades. And when those LED lamps and fixtures first came out, I mean, lamps were in excess of $25 a fixture, and now they're below that $10 threshold with lumens per watt that are better. So it's better technology. It's less than half the cost that it was a decade ago. And it lasts longer and you can offer a longer warranty. I mean, you guys hit on some really key things, and it's making LED projects have a better ROI and produce better results that the companies and facility managers can feel is not just a 3-year fix, but a 10 to 15-year investment. Kind of moving in a different direction, there's dozens of different strategies in lighting when we look at LED, but bluntly put, Todd, what makes for a great project and what makes for a great product when we look at LED?
Yeah.
Todd, I'll let you talk about project, and Bob, you can talk about product.
Yeah, so a project, I think it starts with communication, right? With everybody involved. It's what are we trying to get out of this project? I think as you mentioned, you could design it a million different ways. We can design it for maintenance, low cost, aesthetics. So it's really starting the project with communication between the end user and all the partners involved. And then we can go down the path of designing and then execution. So it's all about understanding the goals of the project, and that will help us guide us through the rest of it.
Yeah, I really appreciate what you're saying there. We take a lot of pride in customization. And to me, when with LED projects nowadays, it's really about being consultative. Some companies, some facility managers are focused strictly on cost. Others are focused on greatest possible energy savings. Others focus on utility rebates. Others focused on aesthetic. Others focus on the warranty. So, understanding the individual needs of whether it's one massive, distribution center or a chain that's looking to convert 1,000 locations, the customization of that project. What about on the product side, Bob? You touched on this a little bit previously, but what makes for a great product in 2026?
Yeah, I would say, we'll go back to the quality of things. I mean, first of all, if you're a contractor or if you're a project manager or if you're the guy that actually maintains the facility, the last thing that you want to do is climb that ladder again, right? Or get that bucket truck out and make another trip. So the first and most important thing is that the quality of product is going to get installed and it's going to work and it's going to operate and it's going to last the 10 years that it's warranted, right? I would say the second thing is stocking, right? Meaning having product in the warehouse. Why? Well, we all live in an Amazon type world, right? We want to be able to order it. We want it on our porch the next day. And if you don't have it in stock, well, then you're probably slowing somebody's project down, right? Or slowing somebody's punch list from getting closed out. So I would say those are probably two of the keys. Maybe the last one is service, right? I mean,
Sure.
let's face it. When I walk into Chick-fil-A, I always know that I'm going to get the best service and that they're going to care about me. And that's really, some of the things that CLS does, that First Call does, and the Keystone does. We're family owned. We enjoy the ability of helping people out, and I think that goes a long way too in making people feel comfortable.
Those are really great in-depth answers, guys. Bob, I appreciate the plugs there for Amazon and Chick-fil-A for future sponsorship opportunities with the First Call Facility Focus Forum podcast. That was not expected today, so thank you. Looking a little differently, with that, the keyword with what both you guys said that we didn't use is reliability. When it comes to a project and a product, we want reliability. So with that in mind, Bob, I'll start with you this time. What are some of the larger challenges we face with LED lighting projects and technologies in the current landscape? And how does Keystone mitigate challenges or risk as we look at projects?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones right now is market saturation, right? The lighting industry used to be a handful of guys, the big three making ballasts and lamps, and then, 20 or 30 fixture manufacturers, and now has expanded to where when you look at the DLC list, there's over 4,000 folks with a DLC rating on a 4-foot tube. So it has greatly expanded. That will continue to right size itself, meaning it will shrink down. And with that quick addition of that many manufacturers or brokers or folks that have jumped into this business comes a lack of quality and a lack of, to your point, Rob, reliability. So those are probably two of the biggest things that we faced, is the idea that, hey, I can buy that for $3. Well, there's a reason you can buy it for $3, but everybody else is selling it for $10 because of the quality and reliability. The market saturation, again, I'll go back to, hey, it's LED 2.0 time. It means that it is time to go back. 10 years ago, 8 years ago, people updated their facilities, and now their warranties are starting to come to an end, right? And, at the end of the day, they don't want to continue to climb the ladder if they can have somebody like a CLS come in and help them out with getting 10 additional years and grabbing some new product and getting a little more efficiency. So I would say those are the two things that we fight the most in this marketplace.
I like what you said there. I think that we also appreciate that amongst our clients and our peers, like, people are at different places in their lighting development. Some people might have an older iteration of technology and they're looking to jump 2 levels with LED. I know you work with clients on a daily basis now that some already have LED technology from 8 years ago, and now they're upgrading it even further. These are all long-term solutions, but, Todd, that kind of takes me to my next point. Peers, clients ask me all the time, hey, Rob, great job with the LED project. What's the next big thing? What's the next big thing in lighting? What should we be looking at and taking a look at with our next project? Because the people we work with, it's their job to maximize the maintenance spend for their facilities, their job to maximize the energy savings. So I'm very keen with that question for you, Todd.
Yeah, and I think the next thing with a lot of different industries and what we're hearing a lot about is AI, right? And I'm not talking about Allen Iverson, the great Sixers great, the answer. I'm talking about artificial intelligence, Rob. And we're already seeing that certainly in the pre-planning of a project, and the way we're finding information, and the way we're crossing product. So that's where we're seeing it now. and then it's here, right? It's making us more efficient. It's making us maybe plan a project easier and better, doing takeoffs better. And I could see that, just keep, obviously it's coming, right? And it's going to keep integrating itself into the product probably and into our control systems, and maybe making predictive maintenance really easy, and the way we're seeing things, maybe it's integrated into the every driver of a fixture. So those are the things that are exciting, and new, I think, that are coming quickly.
No, I appreciate that. My last question here, I want to be able to ask both of you because it's always a good one. It's a two-parter, but Bob, what's your number one? What's your favorite part about your job? And also, if you have like a great project related story, when we interview people in the HVAC realm, they have some tremendous stories of projects, crazy situations that we can share, rated PG on this podcast. But let's start with that. What's your favorite part of your job, and do you have a favorite project story that you remember in your many years?
Wow. So I would say the favorite part is helping people. I mean, it just, let's face it, when you reach out, when you help somebody, it comes back to you tenfold, and that's been my key to dealing with the hecticness from when I started, and you drove up to a payphone and picked up your messages, and to a computer in your hand that tells you you've got 250 emails after the last hour you spent inside. So
Amen.
it still comes down to people, right? And it still comes down to helping people. That has been probably the best thing that has ever happened to me in this business. Story wise, I'd say there's two. I spent a little bit of time with a large manufacturer, and I was able to create a new product
Oh,
for one of the large motor companies. And something to that effect always makes you feel good. Well, when I came over to Keystone, they said, that's exactly what we want to do. And that is exactly what we're trying to do. So every day when we reach out to our customers and we talk about new technologies, we also ask them, what is it that can help you? And so I love the idea that, Bob enjoys helping people out. So does Keystone, right? And Rob, I know you do also. And that's
sure.
really what it comes down to, is creating new product just makes you feel good because you were part of it.
Probably
Or
never
whether you
interviewed me on
talk to
this
the
podcast.
customer and you pushed it over to your engineering group and you watch them design it, and then you watch them bring in UL to make sure that it is going to be, viable for the National Electric Code, and to make sure that that product is actually going to get sold, and you got the right pricing. So it's a nice circle or a hoop that you start and eventually get to the end and say, I did that.
No, I appreciate what you said, Bob. I'll probably never be a guest on the podcast, but if people ask me what my favorite part of the job is, it's the people I work with, and getting to help our customers. When you get to customize solutions and solve problems, there's a lot of joy in that, and you've felt that for a long time. It makes my day to hear you say that. And Todd, I want to offer you the same question. What's your favorite part of your job, and if you have a fun story, but what do you love about what you do?
Yeah, I mean, same, right? I mean, it's the people that not only we work with at Keystone, which are great, but it's the customers we work with, like yourself. It's really rewarding to help a customer or someone internally, that you really like, that you consider a friend.
Sure.
That's the best part of the job for sure.
Well, it's a competitive industry in the lighting world. Like you said, there's more players out there than ever before. And I think Bob gave an example for everybody. When you look at a product now that's has to be certified for a location or for a rebate program or whatever it may be, I mean, there's literally thousands of options. It's daunting. So working with people you trust, working with products you trust, and listening to people's needs, that is, it all goes back to that reliability, and making sure we're finding the right fit for people. But Todd, we'll save, you know, our Philadelphia 76ers questions about when the next time they'll be to the finals for the next podcast, because we don't have time for that today. But I really appreciate you guys joining us. Always great to talk LED lighting. It's such a hot topic, and you have to promise to come back again, and appreciate all you guys do. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for our next Facility Focus Forum pod. Take care, everybody.